Today's video celebrating the 30-year anniversary of Mobb Deep's album, The Infamous, is dedicated to Albert Prodigy Johnson, who passed away in 2017. So before we proceed with the video, let's have a moment of silence for Prodigy. All right, and on that note, I would like to welcome you all to another edition of Wayne's Perspective, where we operate in discipline, decency, integrity, and respect. And I'm coming through with another video just for you. As usual, I hope everyone is doing okay out there, taking every day one day at a time, living life the best way you know how. As for me, I'm doing okay, can't complain too much. I'm also doing good, taking every day one day at a time, and living life the best way I know how as well. And we're going to go ahead and get right into it. Since 1995, my favorite year in hip-hop history, as you all know, I've been a fan of the Mobb, Havoc, and Prodigy, not to be confused with the cast from the group South Central Cartel. My first exposure to the crew was on BET's Rap City in early 1995 via the Shook Ones video, and not too long after that was when I first heard the Infamous album. And it was also right around this time in 1995, I was in the 5th grade, and I remember cutting a picture of the Infamous album cover, one of the advertisements in the Source magazine. I had that on the inside of one of my notebooks. I still remember that to this day. Continuing on, my dad, he had it on cassette at the time, a dub one, and to this day, I don't know who he got the tape from, and apparently he didn't like it, so he gave it to me. And reflecting on this again, my dad was slowly but surely distancing himself from hip-hop music at this point because he was giving me tapes that either he didn't like, no longer listened to, or both. And once I heard The Infamous, I fell in love with it, and it's been a personal top 10 favorite of mine ever since. And one more thing before we proceed to the album. It's still very interesting to know that The Infamous is not the Mobb's debut. In fact, that debut was Juvenile Hell, which was released in 1993. It was okay, and even though they were young at the time of its release, you could tell they were capable of more. The transition they made predated what the Fugees experienced from Blunted on Reality to the score, where they musically changed their entire sound to great results. I think you'll be hard pressed to find one person on earth who feels Juvenile Hell is better than The Infamous. And with all that being said, we're going to go ahead and get right into the album. I'm going to get my screen share right quick. This is my review of the album on my medium.com page, and you can follow along as well. The link to this will be placed in the description box. And once again, my medium.com page is www.medium.com/@WDM625. Again, www.medium.com/@WDM625. And I'm starting back putting some reviews on there as well. I got 4 on there already, so be sure to check that out when you get a chance. And here we go with the Infamous album. This was released on April 25th, 1995, which is 30 years ago today as of this recording. All songs are produced by Mobb Deep except where noted, and we get started with the opener, The Start of Your Ending, 41st Side. I know here in a very fitting way to open this album, we have this dope song. I remember my cousin Shamika went crazy about this song, often talking about how tight it was. And of course, I couldn't agree more. This opener more than sets the tone for the rest of the album and instantly lets the listener know that Prodigy and Havoc are coming with a different style this time around, more so than how things were on their first album. Dope start here, 5 out of 5. And of course, I have the music on this review, but I don't want to get a copyright strike. And even though it's fair usage, I'm not going to play it. Let's keep on. Song number 2, we have the infamous Prelude. Prodigy takes this intermission to get some things off his chest. Lots of tough guy talk, if you will. But as you listen to him throughout, he gives the vibe that he really can back up this talk with words and actions. And while I didn't know it at the time, he also threw some subliminal shots at Keith Murray, not the last time either, which was very interesting because they would appear alongside LL Cool J, Fat Joe, and Foxy Brown for the classic I Shot Your remix. Then we head to song number 3, The classic Survival of the Fittest. We live in this to the day that we die. Survival of the fit, only the strong survive. And I note here, man, those classic lines from the hook accurately describes this aptly titled classic, and to this day I still find myself getting amped whenever I bump it. While Havoc came through with one of his best verses ever, Prodigy's opening verse is not only tight as hell, but he really begins to establish himself as a premier lyricist at this point, and it didn't go unnoticed either. Classic, another 5 out of 5 song right here. And speaking of 5 out of 5 songs, that brings us to the next one. Eye for an Eye, Your Beef is Mine, featuring Nas and Raekwon. I note here, this classic collaboration right here is simply one of the dopest songs I ever heard. I felt that way in 95 when I first heard it, and I still feel this way today. All four MCs come through with incredibly dope verses, including another classic opening from Prodigy. Speaking of which, let me start from the beginning at the top of the list. Know I mean, have situation like this. Another war story from a thirsty young hustler. Won't trust you, I'd rather bust you and leave your corpse for the cops to discover. While I be dipping in Range Rover, all jewel like Liberace. You watch me while Jakes try to knock me and lock me, but I be on the low sipping Asti Spumante. Niggas try to creep on the side of my Jeep, stuck the heat through the window, rocked their ass to sleep over a 3-pack. It was a small thing, really, yeah, but keep letting them small things slide and be a failure. If I'm out of town, one of my crew would take care of you. The world is ours and your team's inferior. You want to bust caps, I get all up in your area. Kidnap your children, make the situation scarier. Life is a gamble, we scramble for money. I might crack a smile, but ain't a damn thing funny. I'm caught up in the dirt where your hands get muddy. Plus the outcome turns out to be lovely. Got G's in my pocket, hit off my main squeeze, push back the sunroof, let the cold air breeze through the butter soft leather upholstery. But mostly keep the gat coasty, cause niggas wanna toast me. Hey yo, Prodigy was flowing on here. You hear what I'm saying? I love that verse. Havoc did his thing, and of course Nas, still hot after dropping his debut Illmatic 1 year prior and adopting the name Nas Escobar, still bought the lyrical goods, and Raekwon, in a rare guest appearance outside of the Wu-Tang Clan, closes this song on such a high quality note that it leaves you wanting more. Oh, and speaking of Nas Escobar, yo, a drug dealer's dream. Stash cream keys on a triple beam. 500 SL green. 95 nickel gleam. Condominium. Thug dressed like a gentleman. Tailor-made ostrich Chanel for my women friend. Murdering. Numbers on your head while I'm burglaring. Shanker serving up. What's up to all my niggas swerving in New York metropolis. The bridge brings apocalypse. Shoot at the clouds feels like the holy beast is watching us. Man, my sanity is glowing like an hourglass. Gun inside my bad hand. I slice, try to bag grams. I got hoes they used to milk you. Niggas who could have killed you is down with my ill crew of psychos. Nas Escobar moving on your weak production. Pump of corruption in the third world. We just busted. Yo, Nas was spitting as well. But then again, all four of these cats spit on this song. And continuing on with what I said here, speaking of Nas and Ray, Prodigy had this to say in an interview with Complex.com, quote unquote. We actually made that beat and everything right there in the studio. We was in there for like 4 hours and knocked that whole song out. The song happened, and that's when Ray did verbal intercourse with Nas. That was probably like a week after Eye for an Eye they did that. Like you need to ask what this song gets, 5 out of 5. And that was an interesting little bit of history right there from Prodigy. Man, I miss these days. Continuing on, we get the Just Step Prelude featuring Big Noid. Clocking in at 1 minute and 6 seconds, Prodigy and Noid come with a few bars, acapella style, leading into another classic. Song number 6, Give Up the Goods, Just Step, another song featuring Big Noid, produced by The Abstract, better known as Q-Tip from A Tribe Called Quest. This joint was often called a stick-up kid anthem. I understand why though, considering the lyrical content. Speaking of which, Prodigy drops another dope opening verse, and Noah comes through with his best verse ever. Dare I say stealing the show on this one? Either way, this is another classic in a series of them on this album. 5 out of 5 for Give Up the Goods, Just Step. And we continue things on with song number 7, Temperatures Rising, featuring Crystal Johnson. This was also produced by The Abstract, co-produced by Mobb Deep. This joint had a couple of remixes too, just like Survival of the Fittest did. Talk about a song that's as real as it gets, featuring the realism you don't see anymore in today's hip hop world. The following words from Prodigy describe this one in a nutshell. Quote unquote, Temperatures Rising is a song that happened when Hav's brother, Killer Black, had went through a little murder situation and he was on the run from the police. The D's called him, and when we found out about it, we were on our way to the studio, so we decided to make a song about what was really happening in our lives. Everything we say about that shit is real. That's what really happened. It was like, damn, they caught Black. We went to the studio that night. We were all emotional about it because that's Hav's brother. That's a serious charge. So we just made a song dedicated to Killer about how his situation went down, how he was on the run, and how he got caught. If you listen to it, it's not directly saying what happened, it's just saying some shit went down. And revisiting this again, I can hear the emotion in their delivery. Another very good song. 5 out of 5. Next up, song number 8, we have Up North Trip. The moral of the story is easy to figure out. A lesson that you can't live without. Living the high life, making the moves at night. Pack your heat in this war zone. Niggas is trife, running for one time. Ain't no time to slip. Make one false move and it's an up north trip. Yes, indeed. True words spoken by Prodigy right there as it relates to this song. He and Havoc paint the verbal picture about how certain lifestyles, specifically those dealing with a life of crime and drugs, often, justifiably so, come with severe consequences, namely getting locked up and sent upstate, hence the title of the song. More dope stuff here. And yes, this song was also on the soundtrack to Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood. And of course, 5 out of 5 for Up North Trip. Next up, song number 9, Trife Life. I love this joint right here featuring a tale of two stories. Prodigy's nice opening verse depicts the familiar story of a visit with a woman going wrong, only to thankfully escape with his life intact, while Havoc kicks knowledge about life scheming and selling drugs as a means of getting money the fast and legal way. Appropriately titled to be sure. 5 out of 5. Next up, song number 10, and if you had the cassette, this starts side B. This song isn't the first time that Prodigy and Havoc show an aggressive side, obviously, but they turn it up a few notches here. They talk about where they come from, QU, short for Queens, and describing the environment itself. Hectic. It wasn't just Queens that had this harsh reality, this also extended to the 5 boroughs in New York. Another tight song that gets a 5 out of 5 rating. Song number 11, Raekwon, Ghostface Killer, and Big Noyd. This was co-produced by Scott Free. While this collaboration has nothing on Eye for an Eye, Your Beef Is Mine, it's still pretty damn good on its own. Ghostface comes through with Ray, bringing that Cuban Links vibe with an infamous touch. 5 out of 5 for this one. The Grave Prelude then leads us right into song 13, Cradle to the Grave. This is probably the single most chilling song in Mobb Deep's discography, including the first verse, particularly the lines from Prodigy, which were apparently based on real life incidents. It's also one of the few songs from the Mobb that you really have to take your time with as you listen to it. 5 out of 5. Next up, we have song number 14, Drank Away the Pain Situations, featuring and produced by The Abstract, co-produced by Mobb Deep. Genius.com accurately describes this song by saying, quote unquote, the song personifies dangerous addictions. Prodigy and Havoc compare their love for alcohol to infatuation with a woman. Tip takes it in a different direction, assembling a crew of designer clothing labels for a metaphorical heist. This gets 5 out of 5. And speaking of 5 out of 5, that takes us to this classic, one of the greatest songs of all time, Shook Ones Part 2. And let the record show that there was a Part 1 to Shook Ones. Granted, it's the lesser known version, but it's just as dope. And I have it right here, and it still holds up to this day. I still bump that joint too. Continuing on, no amount of hyperbole can put Mobb Deep's finest and most memorable work in its proper context. Definitely one of my favorite songs and beats of all time. Prodigy's opening 2 lines are some of his most often quoted lines. Truly his best verse ever, opening and or otherwise. And speaking of which, y'all know I got to spit this verse. I know it by heart, and I'm sure you do too. I got you stuck off the realness. We be the infamous, you heard of us. Official Queensbridge murderers. The mob comes equipped for warfare. Beware of my crime family who got enough shots to share for all those who want to profile and pose. Rock you in your face, stab your brain with your nose bone. You all alone in these streets, cousin. Every man for theyself in this land we be gunning. And keep them short crews running like they supposed to. They come around but they never come close to. I can see it inside your face. You're in the wrong place. Cowards like you just get their whole body laced up with bullet holes and such. Speak the wrong words, man, and you will get touched. You could put your whole army against my team, man. I guarantee you it'll be your very last time breathing. Your simple words just don't move me. You're minor, we major. You all up in the game and don't deserve to be a player. Don't make me have to call your name out. Your crew is featherweight. My gunshots to make you levitate. I'm only 19, but my mind is old. And when the things get for real, my warm heart turns cold. Another nigga deceased. Another story gets told. It ain't nothing really. And you're done sparked the Philly. So I can get my mind off these yellow back niggas. Why they still alive? I don't know. Go figure. Meanwhile, back in Queens, the realness of foundation. If I die, I couldn't choose a better location. When the slugs penetrate, you get a burning sensation getting closer to God in a tight situation now. Take these words home and think it through, or the next round I write might be about you. Son, they shook, cause ain't no such thing as halfway crooks. Scared to death and scared to look. You shook. Exactly. Man, way back when, whenever this video came on, no matter where I was, I took the time out to watch it, and it remains the song that forever defined their legacy in hip hop. Chances are, when you think of Mobb Deep, this joint comes to mind. Classic material. Definitely a 5 out of 5. No question. And we close this album with Party Over, song number 16, featuring Big Noid, co-produced by Matt Life. I note here, I guess some good things must come to an end, right? Well, this incredible album closes on a tight, aptly titled note. Some people I know don't care too much for this song, but I always thought it was dope. Overall, a fitting closer, 5 out of 5. And if you're keeping track, it's straight 5 out of 5 ratings for every song on this album. In my opinion, no song on this album is below that. And my final thoughts right here, even 20 plus years after its release, I did not want this album to end, and it sounds just as good today as it did when I first was listening to it with my 10-year-old, 11-year-old ears. Simply put, this is one incredible album, and to say it's better than Juvenile Hell is a complete understatement. Prodigy and Havoc really evolved as men and artists rather quickly, and that certainly comes across on this album. The production is nice, one of many albums released in '95 that captured the high quality sound of East Coast hip hop, and lyrically is great stuff. Havoc was good all around, but Prodigy stepped up in a huge way, and this album by far represents some of his absolute best work ever behind the mic. The follow up, Hell on Earth, certainly gives it a run for his money. The Infamous is my number 8 favorite album of all time, one of the best albums of '95, and truly one of the greatest albums of all time. A very enthusiastic 5 mics for this classic. Yes, indeed. Oh, and we're not done yet, y'all. What I have in my hand right now is a copy of the Source Magazine's review of The Infamous. They gave this 4.5 mics. I'm not sure off the top of my head which Source Magazine issue this is. I'm sure I don't have it in my collection, because if I did, I would have that issue in front of me right now. But I had to do some soul searching online. I printed it out, so I'm going to read it verbatim here. This was written by Dimitri Leach. It says, the most revered character in hip hop is the wise reform hustler who, cockeyed while sipping on expensive brews, schools hot headed youngsters on the perils of the fast life. An OG, he speaks with remorse of the petty crimes he had to commit. Cool, he never raises his voice, preferring a steady, even tone, a sign of hardcore sincerity, complete realness. The legends of Rakim, Cool G Rap, EPMD, and more recently Nas emerged from that aesthetic. Obvious students of the masters, Mobb Deep successfully parlayed this Queensbridge sensibility throughout The Infamous. Havoc and Prodigy, two 20-year-olds from the Queensbridge housing projects, never crack a smile on the album's sinister cuts, but nevertheless paint vivid scenes of roughneck life with a humorous deadpan. By favoring straightforward, near spoken word deliveries over stylish vocal gymnastics, Mobb Deep earned credibility, winning the crucial battle between style and substance, who's real and who's a move faker. Havoc and Prodigy simply report what they know. Havoc and Prodigy bounce off each other with chemistry reminiscent of a young Eric and Parrish. P leads off and Havoc hooks you from the back. Both hit you in the head with fluid, continuous rhymes whose potency comes from close listening. He then goes into a few lines from P's opening verse from Eye for an Eye, which he notes is a smoldering joint blessed by Nas and Raekwon the Chef from Wu-Tang, who flips his style to complement Havoc, Prodigy, and Nas without losing his style and grit. The result is a classic destined to be a favorite on mixtapes. Continuing on, he says the infamous, largely self-produced with contributions from Q-Tip, who helps make the hilarious metaphorical Drink Away the Pain swing, rarely slouches musically. The most well-crafted songs like Cradle to the Grave, Give Up the Goods, and Trife Life blend Mobb Deep's monotonous flows with slow, stripped-down drum tracks laced with pretty sonic embellishments. Synthesizer bleeps and toggles and flute riffs balance Havoc and Prodigy's tight rhymes, giving songs like their first hit single, Shook Ones Part 2, a stunning clarity. The infamous falls short of classics like Illmatic and Strictly Business, but definitely upholds their tradition. It proves once again that Queensbridge heads don't play. This was a great review. The only thing that I disagree with was what he said at the end. And looking back on this, they should have gave it 5 mics then, but they would turn around and in their 150th issue, they would give it 5 mics then. Other than that, like I said, this is a great review, but falling short of classics like Illmatic and Strictly Business, oh no, definitely not. And last but not least, we're going to open up my favorite Source Magazine issue. This would be the one talking about the year that was in hip hop, 1995. Mobb Deep was one of the top artists that they picked that year. And on page 20, they say, quote unquote, Queens, home of many a classic MC, has been on the rise once more. In 1995, this renaissance manifested itself in the person of Mobb Deep. Prodigy and Havoc set the hardcore world on its ear with the release of The Infamous, a collection of grim poetic set atop stark, blistering beats. The duo's single, Shook Ones Part 2, was one of the year's anthems, an uncompromising sonic verbal assault that had everyone posturing for a hot 3 minutes. Finally, Sour Face, Hard Rocks, and Herb Ultimates could spit a phrase with equal enthusiasm. You shook. And of course, it's no surprise that when they picked their best albums of 1995, The Infamous was on that list. And with all that being said, y'all, we've come to the end of this video. I had a great time reviewing it. Other than that, what more can I say about The Infamous? Like I said, my number 8 favorite album of all time. It's a classic through and through, and after 30 years, it still holds up today. It is aged like fine wine. And if for some reason you haven't heard this album, I strongly, strongly recommend that you do so. It's never too late. And of course, with all this being said, we've come to the end of the video. If you like what you heard and you're ready to become part of Team Discipline, go ahead and hit that like button and drop some comments if you're feeling the content. Definitely let me know your thoughts on the album 30 years later. And last but not least, hit that subscribe button along with the bell so you're notified when I drop new videos. And until next time, my people, take care of yourselves and remember, whenever party's over, tell the rest of the crew, yo, P, it's on you what you want to do. Whenever party's over, tell the rest of the crew. And until the next session, I'm out.